Hello, hello, and welcome to this edition of the Law Firm Blueprint. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Ruane, and with me is my man Seth Price down there, actually at the the Price Benowitz headquarters today. That's fantastic. How are things at Price Benowitz?
It's, two steps forward, one step back. Good news is plaintiff's practice doing nicely. Biggest thing, we've talked a little bit on the show, the ability to get and attract viable candidates in the criminal and even family space. It is tough. The struggle is real. So much so, the Virginia bar just they're putting a committee together. This is not just me. This is like a thing where the talent is not out there. And God forbid it is out there. The law schools are so expensive. The 10-year debt forgiveness means that you can't. My model, this. How many years have I said? Third to eighth year. That's what I want. I can't get it because you go 3 years, they're locked in with golden handcuffs.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. And it's one of the problems with us scaling our businesses and doing that. I got to tell you, I was it's funny that you were, before we came online, you were talking about you pulled the Jay Ruane. I pulled the Seth Price. I went to a conference last week. I was down at the Best Era AI conference, and a friend of the show, I want to let him know right out the front because I know he's going to be listening. Tom Tona, we were able to move things, and we got to sit next to each other and basically talk the whole ride back from Charleston back to LaGuardia. I chatted the whole time. It was a great time.
As a super fan, when we go back to starting putting guests on the show, we got to get Tona on here. He's a force of nature. He is one enjoyable guy.
It's interesting. We were talking. I mean, I'm in the criminal space. He's in the PI space. We started around the same time. And it's interesting. A lot of
similarities.
There's a lot of similarities. We're struggling with the same issues.
That's why he listens to our podcast and he's like, thinks we're talking to him. I mean, when I speak to him, he's not wrong. I mean, he's done every nonsensical thing. He had bring in the rock star litigator. Our friend Fisher did the same thing. And the odds of getting somebody at that level that hits your company culture and does everything you need. And shockingly, in both instances, big bullet, China shop blows up. No easy answer, is it?
Yeah, there really isn't an easy answer. But I got to tell you, man, I was at this AI conference. It was well attended. And the cool thing about it was that I got to speak first, sort of just set the stage for the whole 2 days. But it was really interactive. And it was interesting seeing what other people are doing with AI in the legal space from a user perspective. And the people that were attendees were awesome in just embracing the new paradigm of how we're approaching it, trying to find out what tools to use. I got lucky. I got to sit and talk with Dan Schnurbush, who's got his tech tools for legal tech for lawyers. I forget the name of the Facebook group that he has. I'll put it up in the show notes. But Dan is a powerhouse when it comes to using technology. And we got to sit across from each other at dinner and really chat. That was phenomenal. Carolyn Elephant was at our table. Anastasia Boyko was at our table. And the four of us really just dove deep into the future of law. And the speakers were great. So I got to tell you, it was a fantastic event. It was good getting out there, seeing people shaking hands. People coming up to me telling me they're listening to the show.
That's the amazing thing, isn't it? Like, who are all these people? That's awesome. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so thank you all for listening and thank you for being with us. But I gotta tell you, Seth, I'm in the middle of cut month in November. I always go through my bills. Are you doing it? What's going on?
I'm doing first. I did. Let me just put this out on a personal level. Maybe this will bring it because I don't always listen to Jay Ruane fully as much as I should. But on a personal level, I got 2 new cars, leased a car. All of a sudden, I'm like, Sirius XM, what was I paying? When this stuff gets out of its introductory period, 22 and change a month per effing car. You call up, oh yes, there's a promotion at $4.99. Unbelievable. Checking what credit cards you have. This was just like one night. I think I saved several $1,000s. What credit cards you have that give you free Apple, streaming, free Apple Music. It could be Paramount Plus. And you gotta be careful. Some stuff comes with a catch. I tried a complicated play, which was the Amex Platinum and Amex Business Gold gives you Walmart Plus. So I had one of each of these and I was like, oh, that's great. I can save now on Peacock and Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Walmart, that's awesome. Oh, I do all this work. It took me about a half hour. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's the stuff you get for free comes with the ads. So then there's a $5 upsell. So it's not a free lunch,
Wait,
but
whoa.
but
Cheap Seth Price won't go with the ads?
oh, I don't do the ads. I don't do ads.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Wow.
no. Don't work with the ads.
That blows my mind.
For $5 a month. I'm not like I won't. I think the whole point is it is. But as I added up all the stuff, like in 45 minutes, saved about $2,200 cash flow wise. Not to mention, there's the kid who signed up for a gym membership. Got sick and never started going back. There's if you wife on the Peloton, all of these things added up to create like again each thing in of itself. Who cares about $25, $50 a month? It's when you start putting it together, it's real money.
Oh, absolutely. It's real money. We found out last year that one of our lawyers had signed up for a storage spot for some dead files that we needed to keep on proper, like we needed to keep them, but we didn't need them in the office. And so we were paying $800 a month for a storage unit that we could have moved those into one of our other storage units and saved the 800. So I did. I hired some high school kids to help me move the stuff. But you got to look at this stuff with a fine tooth comb.
So
Because I mean, $800 a month. That's a lot of money a year.
Yeah, no. And so what we're starting to think about how do we work smarter. We were humbled by a couple of the contractions in criminal, meaning normally I lose somebody, I just hire somebody back. This is the first time in the firm's history, 20 years, where I can't just go to the market and find a person who can walk and chew gum. Can't. And the people we've passed on people. One guy urinated on Dave's couch during an interview.
What? Wait, whoa. Whoa. He did a poppy? A little Seinfeld reference, really? Was he stressed? And I gotta.
I don't know. All I know is the couch is no longer. Yeah.
Oh my Lord, that's amazing.
Yeah, we had, and they're all different types, right? I had one guy interview who's perfectly great for a position I would have loved. And the guy the office that he would have been in was a couple hours away. And so I was like, he drove in, he met Dave. He goes back, he said, I want to meet Seth in person. Oh, yeah, sure. You want to come in? You want to drive 2.5 hours? God bless you, right? Took him for lunch. Then he's like, you know what? I really want to fly to South Carolina, meet Dane, and shadow one of your other people for a day. I'm like, you know what? Time out. You ever have something where something's outside the standard deviation? It's not that, hey, Scout, shut up. It's not that he is a bad person, but the questions being asked, the actions, they're outside the standard deviation. And you go for a while with it. For a minute, you're like, look, I'm desperate. I'll go along for the ride. I'm like, no, like you never know. It was like dating back in our single days. You went out with somebody who's like, oh, she had a swastika tattooed on her. You never know. Right? So like, this is like the questions were the asks were outside the standard deviation of like what you'd want, despite being a nice person, despite being a decent attorney. It's not going to end well. Now, again, you're not going to cut it off on that, but sure as heck. We played it out for a few weeks. So I called the bluff. I said, here's an offer. Because if you want, before you interview, you should at least know what the economics of your deal are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So before you're going to do 6 rounds of voluntary interviews, I'd like to know if you agree to the money so that if we agree, if you want to be here, and shockingly, all of us, once it was sort of like, hey, you have the job. You can speak to anybody you want, but it was almost like somebody who got a thrill out of the interview process.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? Enough's enough. So the struggle is real there. But I think what we're starting to see, and I think we were humbled because we saw this contraction. It was probably like about a $1.5 million annualized. It has been a year, been a couple of months, but a potential for a $1.5 million negative delta in gross if we don't replace these people, right? I mean, the firm's got lots of other income earners, but like this is money where the marketing's there, the intake's there, accounting's there. All I need to do is get people to actually bill the hours, and meaning there are actually cases there on the hook to be done. Meaning the phone keeps ringing, and so for the first time we've had to do, we've had a very positive profit margin, but we've never tried to get it down to the high. We never tried to sort of squeeze every dime out of it. Have some redundancies. We talk about this on the show a lot, right? If you have an extra redundancy, when somebody quits, it means that Jay is not working the weekend.
Right.
Right. So, but all of a sudden, I'm like with 1.5 million down potential. I mean, hopefully it won't be all of that. And we'll hire new people over the course of the next few months. But what I would say is that we are starting to look at, hey, where can we combine two jobs? And we know that technology, this is the conference you just came from, we know that AI is going to replace jobs and is going to make things more efficient. The question is, where should we be looking already? Not because we want to like go on a firing spree. It's more because, hey, if we can how do we make sure and bulletproof this to make sure it's sustainable and that we don't get to the point where we're ever in the danger zone?
Yeah, see, I mean, the one thing that I took away from this conference regarding the use of AI is that I think with the right applications of AI in my office, I can actually allow my lawyers to handle more clients with less busy work. And so AI is doing some of the stuff that they would have otherwise done. And if
Give me,
that's
give me, give me an example. I'm curious.
so one of the things that we need to do as criminal defense attorneys is we need to actively assess the case, what the charges are, what the elements of those offenses are, what their exposure is, where in the reports does it reference that. So what evidence does the state have to support those things? And it's one of the things that happens in the colloquy between the defense lawyer and the judge at the time of a plea or a case is being put on the trial list. And so one of the things that we do is we used to have to generate, and I used to generate, and I had a template that I've been using for 25 years now. And this is our offer letter or options letter template that we use, and it basically walks the client down all of the different issues. Should you go to trial? Here are the things. If you want to plead, here are the things you need to think of. Is it a felony, misdemeanor, collateral consequences? All things. It's a 6 or 7 page letter, but we do it because number one, we're going to be asked about it. Number two, we want the client to have it to refer to it when they're contemplating their options. That's essentially why we call it the options letter.
Well, it's essentially your demand, and that's where the PI space.
Exactly.
There's 17 a-holes out there giving demands AI. Not to mention people just doing it themselves with the prompt, and that you're now saying, hey, this is a demand. There's not a bucket of money out there with third-party companies do it, but if they can do it in PI, I can do it here.
Right. And so what we did is we fashioned the prompt, and now we have basically 3 different legal criminal defense versions of the demand that are their own Gemini gems, and it's dispersed among my team. And now they can upload the police report and answer a few questions and get the demand or the options letter generated, so it can save them time. I know when I did PI and I was writing out a demand and I was referencing things manually, it could take me a whole afternoon to get one of those things polished up nice and pretty the way I wanted to. And obviously, with digital documents, you could reduce that. Now we're able to do it with using AI. And the best thing for me is that it becomes uniform, clean, and complete. So I don't have to like watch over the shoulder of an attorney when they're starting out to do it, because we've got the guardrails in place with the AI prompts so that it comes out the same way every time. We're consistent. And that's something that I love in a system-based practice, is to being consistent so that every client gets the same information that they all deserve. And it's been great. It's working now. And, we're able to add to it. And we just got some feedback from a lawyer. And so we added a whole page. And now it's deployed among everybody. So that's one of the cool things about using AI, is that you can find use cases to really reduce the hours on a person's desk, and they can now talk to more clients.
Well, right. Or look, so first is better quality, but the second is like right now, I'm sitting here down 3-4 attorneys. You might be able to get some of the. I might not need as many units if, in fact, on flat fee cases in particular, there's no better place than there. Somewhat a contingency where if you can get the stuff done better and they can handle X number of more cases, that's a huge deal. So it's not just quality of life, but in theory, if they're getting paid by the case, they should be able to make more money, which should make them happier.
And if they're not being paid by case and they're on salary, it could make more revenue, net revenue for the firm. So everybody wins in that respect.
Right.
So that I could take my bandwidth up from 100 cases per criminal defense lawyer to 110 or 125. That's going to obviously allow us to go to grow, and I love that. And I love the fact that it's consistent output means that somebody in Stamford, Connecticut, and somebody in Hartford, Connecticut is getting all the information they need, consistent, and we have a replicable letter that's going out, and it's not, oh, I forgot that section this time. So that really has made a huge difference for me, and
Well,
that's how I'm using AI. I'm not using it at the top level. I'm using it actually in the weeds.
no, I got you. And look, this is the scary part. So for the first time, we started this podcast. I was the evangelist not to do first years. I'm now looking at it. We're starting a first year criminal class, starting when law schools get out this year,
Nice.
because, nice, I hope, but the question is, how many people do you need starting to statistically make it worthwhile? If I told you I want, hypothetically, I need a lawyer with me in a year. If you're playing the odds, how many people have to start for that to happen?
I
Three?
gotta think you got at least six,
Six for
probably.
one. If six
Yeah.
for one, I mean, might as well just close up shop. I'm hoping
No,
that
no, no.
if
If you're bringing in first years,
yes,
wait, I thought you meant first year law students to
no,
work
no,
as an
no, no,
internship.
no, 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 no.
Oh, no,
Six,
yeah. I think
three
you
to
need.
one.
I think you need three to
Yeah,
see who one's going to stick.
right. And God forbid two do, you'd be fine. But look,
Right.
it's how many people decide it's not what they want, how many people end up moving the state. I mean, all these
Right.
things that are out there that are real. The piece that I do like is that AI could make some of the stuff easier. The downside is, when Jay Ruane gets an AI document, right? We know you're going to look at it and look at an eyeball and say that's not right. The downside we both know is there is that if it's a junior person relying on it too much, that's where there's going to be issues. It's
Well,
going to be
that's why
some
I'm reviewing my prompts and testing them out before I deploy them.
so far. It's better, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the product coming out of the prompt has basically my brain in the prompt, so that it's giving me the results that I want. And it's taking a while. It's not something that you can't just do one iteration of a prompt. You got to test, refine, tweak it, go back, refine it again. That's I mean, that the crazy thing is that the AI is the worst it's going to be as of today, and then tomorrow it'll be better. The day after it'll be better. So it's just a matter. I mean, there's going to come a point where we're really gonna have to make some decisions as to how deep we want to use it. And I think I know me. I love going all in on something, and the more I can do that, the better. The one of the things that came out to me now. I know you're in the Google Workspace suite, and I know you've invested a ton of money in Salesforce, which you've built out to customize it. But I gotta wonder why Google Workplace doesn't have just a really bare bones CRM. I mean, imagine if I was starting a business and I could sign up for email and spreadsheets, and oh, by the way, here's a basic CRM that I could store my notes about a client on, and
Well,
their
in
contact
one
information.
sense, right. In one sense, I'm sure it's there. The other is they're so fraught with peril. You know what I mean? And it's like it's clunky. There's integrations. I think Google's so smart. Everything they do is like zero touch from them. I just wonder whether they're like, you know what, we'll give up that piece of the market and allow these guys to do this heavy lifting. Again,
Yeah,
not that they come
it
up with it.
makes
As,
it makes a lot of sense, but I could imagine that could be a killer for a lot
well,
of
I mean,
softwares.
think about it. Well, Google Docs has changed the world.
Yeah.
It's Google Drive and this Google spreadsheet. I mean, it's another. It used to be a Microsoft license, and now it's free essentially. I mean, nothing's free, but it's free.
Right. It's funny. I showed my father. He wanted to create a document. I showed my father the doc.new command, which opens up a brand new, clean Google document when you're signed in, and it blew his mind. He didn't wait. I don't have to go to docs.google and then click on start a new doc. Nope, just type in doc.new and it starts. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that like cool tricks you can learn, and really sort of moves you faster in the process. But so let me ask you this. I know I don't want to go too far out, but we're coming into the end of the year. Has 2025 accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, or have there been so many changes? Has your plan for the beginning of the year diverted? I mean, I know how I would answer the question, but I'm curious what you
You
think
know,
about how has
Tail
2025
Tail
treated you?
Two Cities, our plaintiff's practice has grown nicely and built out. We've learned a lot and may actually contract certain areas to more profitable SKUs. I think the tail for the other side is, I don't want to say derail, but the labor piece has been a real problem. I don't want to overharp it, but it's not nothing. And it's one of those ones that before I could spend my weekend recruiting and have a person by Monday morning. I
Yeah,
don't
none,
have
none of
that
that.
superpower right now.
I gotta tell you, we've been trying to get somebody into a seat for like 15 months. Granted, we had a little hiccup when we had somebody who failed the bar that we thought would, and then extended it out, and we gave some grace. Probably shouldn't have in that respect, but we finally got to interview somebody today, actually, who I think could fill a role for us. Um,
Could a role. Hear the way you're speaking. This isn't like I found the person who's going to slice the bread for me. This is like, hey, maybe I could maybe. It's tough. Right now it's a risk
yeah,
factor for those of us in the space, and I think that starting to think about where is your pipeline. The idea that you would one person not pass the bar throw you off that far
well, it
shows you.
hasn't thrown me off. I mean, we're still functioning, we're still handling all the cases. I just haven't been able to expand as much as I would have
Right.
liked
Well,
to.
there you go.
You
That
know,
expansion is good.
and I guess
Um,
I could, if I decided to just jump back into the fray and handle the
no,
case.
no, that's not part of.
It's the
That's not
last thing I want to do, though. I just don't have it in me anymore, and I acknowledge that.
what I would
Um,
say is our intake is playing at the highest level it's ever been. We've added a bunch of security protocols despite some hacks we've had. It's going nicely. EOS is running well. There's a lot of really positive, good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's you can have all the meetings you want, but if you don't have the selling units, you
yeah,
have
absolutely,
the
absolutely.
bills.
It's this. It's so funny. I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, you know what? We can't wait to get to your spot where you are. We're so deep in the weeds. We're covering cases every day, and then we're coming home and we're working on the marketing or the intake or all that stuff at night. And oh, I can't wait to get to your role. I can't wait to get to a place where I have this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean that my role doesn't have a lot of headaches because
They're
now
different. Though. They're different.
they're different
Yeah,
headaches.
right.
It's
Yeah, I'd still take your role. You're out
Well,
of the weeds.
I gotta ask you a question, and this came up when I was sitting down. You don't have a traditional C-suite. I was sitting down with Tom Tone on the flight back. You
Totally. Yeah,
don't
so
have.
right. So I have, we have controller, director of ops, director of intake, director of technology. We don't have the high, look, I also think people use those titles generally incorrectly. Every
Sure,
firm that says
I'll
it
agree
has
with that.
a CFO has a controller. Every firm that says it has a CMO has a director of marketing at best. And so, in one respect, I think we just kept the titles real. These are six-figure earners, but what I talked to, I believe my next hire, talked to Tom a lot about this, is a C-level finance person to help tie things together. Because right now, Dave and I, our sweat equity is what makes up for the delta above where the director level can do things. But it is far from, again, a $30 million firm sounds like a lot, but like as you know, with margins, it's not like you have millions of dollars to throw around willy nilly.
No, and,
And
and when you're hiring mid-level managers and above, they're not necessarily adding to the bottom line. They're drawing from it. So then your profitability go, your top line profitability into your pocket gets to suffer if you're hiring.
correct, but I now conceptually have bought into the idea of adding some C-level piece. But then the question is, are we going to follow the maxim of the first person doesn't work, the second, and we have to wait through two rounds of this to get to the right person? High level hires, Tona included, I mentioned it before, Fisher included. They're these, far from a certainty. You bring somebody in with a lot of money, the expectations go up, and you find out people are human. Sometimes they have lives they want to do, and so can you find the person that hits your acumen, and that we're talking about the true C level, 250 plus incentives. That's a 350 package with
Yeah,
everything. That's
That's real
not
money.
nothing.
That's
Yeah.
that's real money. Well, okay,
So
so then this let me ask you this then. And this also came up recently when I was talking to somebody. It wasn't Tom, it was somebody else, but um hiring young lawyers, 3 to 8 years, and you're going back to one. Somebody pitched me on they think they want to hire somebody who's semi-retired, and I was
no,
heartily against that.
no, look, we've been down that road. It's great if it works. What are the odds it's going to work? Is the person really like jazzed to work but just semi-retired? I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, and it's like a part-time, stay-at-home mom. When it works, it's freaking awesome. How often does a few months later say, "Oh, the kids are off from school and I can't work anymore," or such relative is sick, or in this case, the semi-retired person. You know what? I really want to travel the world. Whatever it is, it's not like the reason that I've historically not liked part time myself is I want stability. And statistically, the odds of that part time person working for years limited. Do I have one woman, Rachel Burkhardt, who's done part time marketing and some part time stuff for BluShark as needed with me 13, 14 years? Yeah, every once in a while I hit pay dirt. But more realistically, I had a woman years ago who wanted to move to New York well before COVID, well before remote work. And I let her work remotely from New York. And she's with me 10, 12 years later. That's awesome. But when really genuinely part time, if I'd love to see a stat. I've always wanted to see stats like divorce. What went to a divorce party Saturday night? What when you have a part time person, what's the odds that person is with you in a year?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
And,
it's
and so
it's a
take a
challenge.
shot. It's a band aid. Is it a band aid? Are you going to get are you going to get labor beyond where you were from that person? Or I did this once with a family member. I brought somebody in who was semi-retired for some collections work, and their tech skills were so bad that it crashed and burned.
Yeah,
So
it's never easy. I mean, the reality is that we are always trying to figure out the new, the next, the what if I, and you have to have a bandwidth for some failures. I think that's one of the, not for nothing, but one of the challenges I think all of us as lawyers have when we are running our businesses is that for the most part, I mean, present company excluded, maybe the two of us, for the most part, lawyers who, decide to strike it on their own and be entrepreneurs, we were, highly educated, overachievers in undergrad, overachievers in high school, a lot of extracurriculars, and got out there and we're networking, and yeah, I can do this. And you have a cautious level of optimism when you launch a shingle, so you kind of expect things to go your way. You kind of have to, but then you get some setbacks, and then you're like, "What the heck did I get myself
oh,
into?"
I mean,
And
somebody
and things don't break your way when historically they have, and like we today we had a really good interview with a lawyer who I think we're gonna make an offer to, and the question I said in the interview was, how do you deal with losing? From a criminal defense perspective, you got to get used to getting kicked in the teeth, and that was a question that he had never gotten in an interview before. How does he approach losing? And
and
he
for
was
us, it's right. For us, forget about the success. How many people you go back through the years have disappointed you dramatically? We've talked about you pull it off the show, but like alcohol issues, count them. Inappropriate sexual issues, count them. Incompetent work things, count them. All of these different. Two jobs at once is the new du jour.
Yep.
Especially from international people. Like
Oh, we had that happen to us this year.
uh, twice, once at each company.
Wow.
It's there. It's a thing. And so all I'd say is hopefully this show gives people some level of it. It's not just you. It's a thing.
It's all of us.
You wake up each morning. You got to wake up with a great attitude, even though there's a good chance that one of those things that I just mentioned is going to happen to you in the next quarter.
Absolutely. All right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us this week. I am Jay Ruane, and he is Seth Price. We are the law firm Blueprint. Thank you so much for being with us today. Of course, you can catch us and take us on the go anywhere you want to go by subscribing to the Law Firm Blueprint podcast, and catch our show live every week, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, live on LinkedIn and live in the group, the Law Firm Blueprint. Thank you so much. I am Jay. Bye for now.